Hello everyone, so in this presentation we're going to talk about religion presented by Yara Chehade, Judy Chhade, Sarah Abdulkader and Omar Al Mustafa. Mesopotamia is originally a Greek word that means between two rivers, Tigris and Euphrates. This historical region is situated in southern Asia, and in modern days it occupies Iraq and Kuwait and parts of Iran, Syria and Turkey. Furthermore, it holds one of the most important civilizations due to the invention of writing called cuneiform. Several civilizations have lived in this area, and from that we can recognize Sumerians, Akkadians, Babylonians, Assyrians, and Persian. Sumer was divided into city-states, each ruled by a king-priest whose authority was absolute. Temples were named ziggurat, and they were also referred to as itamanki, which translate to Temple of the Foundation of Heaven and Earth. Ziggurats are a massive stone structure resembling pyramids, symbolizing the link between humans and gods, and we can recognize two types, ground and high. One of the most famous ziggurats in this area were the White Temple in Uruk and the Greek Temple of Ur. And now we're going to talk about the White Temple. The White Temple was a ground temple, which means it was the interaction of gods with people. Excavators of the ziggurat believed that it must have taken about 1,500 laborers working for an average of 10 hours a day for 5 years to finish building. The flat top of the ziggurat was coated with bitumen and overlaid with bricks for a firm and waterproof foundation for the temple. The temple got its name because it was entirely whitewashed inside out, which gave a dazzling brightness in sunlight. Moving on to the Great Ziggurat of Ur. It was built by Sumerian king Ur-Nammu for the goddess of the moon Nanna. Access to the temple was through a triple staircase that led to a portal with a dome roof that then led to a fourth staircase, and after that the temple. It was only accessed by priests since it was believed to be the residence of God when they came down to earth to give directions.
Sumerian cemeteries. Sumerians were often buried with their most prized possessions, especially the ones they might need in the underworld, since they did not believe in heaven, but they did in hell. Most Sumerian works of art were found in their graves, especially a royal tomb in which gold and precious stones were found. We can recognize two different types of burial sites. The first is Omar Al It is the largest known Sumerian cemeteries. It spreads for around 5 square kilometers and contains hundreds of thousands of graves. The second are royal tombs that were made of vaulted chambers at the bottom of a deep pit. Some of these chambers were as deep as 30 feet underground.
Now let's talk about Akkadians.
The Akkadian Empire was the first ever ancient empire of Mesopotamia after the Sumerians, though little is known about their architecture due to the strong involvement of their kings and wars, but that doesn't mean that they ignored religion. The Akkadians worshipped the same gods as the Sumerians, especially An, Enlil, and Enki. However, they changed their names to Anu, Baal, and Ea.
Also,
The sun god Shamash became the most important god who defended justice and punished wrongdoers. Akkadian graves. When it comes to Akkadian graves, we have to mention the 3rd dynasty cemeteries, the central building. Some bricks being the name of Inshulgi have been found in the largest central building, but we don't know if he was ever entombed there yet. It had 5 rooms and 2 tunnels which had been damaged in antiquity. The southeast and the northwest annex. Both are attributed to Ammason, the son of King Shulgi, but it's not definitely known if he was entombed there or no. Both are consisted of several rooms and burial chambers. Now let's talk about the Babylonian civilization. The most important temple in Babylon was Esagila, dedicated to the god Marduk. It measured up to 660 feet and had 3 vast courtyards surrounded by chambers.
And we most certainly cannot forget about the Tower of Babel. It was inspired by Etemenanki of Marduk, and it is believed to be 3 times the size of Burj Khalifa and made out of 7 layers connected by an outer staircase that eventually leads to the tomb of the god Marduk. There is a myth that talks about this tower and how the Babylonians wanted to make a name for themselves, so they tried to build a mighty city and a tower so long that its top would reach the heavens. They believed that it was God that disrupted the work by making workers speak different languages, and with that not understanding each other, that's why the city and the tower were never completed. Now let's talk about Babylonian graves. Babylonian burials were in coffins since it secured peace for the dead. They also poured libations on them to prevent them from returning into ugly forms. Now on to Assyrians. Assyrians considered religion to be very important and they worshipped many gods but eventually focused on Ashur as their national deity. The Assyrians were also very superstitious, which led them to believe in the genii who acted as guardians of the city. Assyria was ruled by a king called Ashurnasirpal II that built a total of 9 temples. The temple of the gods Enlil and Ninurta, Esaru, Adad, Sin, and Nabu. The temple of the goddesses Damkina, Sala, Gula, and Ishtar. And finally the temple of the divine Sibiti and Kidmuru. Central systems weren't followed in Assyrian cities, so palaces and ziggurats were found at the edge. The most important temples and ziggurats were the ziggurat of Ninurta, ziggurat of Khorsabad, temple of Ishtar, temple of Nabu, and temple of Enlil.
Although Assyrians didn't believe in the afterlife, the wealthy were still buried in tombs with fine vessels, weapons, favorite possessions, food and water. And weirdly enough, burial sites revealed that these ancient citizens also buried their dead with fearsome companions, turtles. Turtles were considered to be symbolic protectors and mythical guides that ward off evil. Ancient Persians were Zoroastrians, followers of Zoroastrianism, which was one of the earliest active religions that believed in the struggle between good and evil, good being symbolized by fire and bad by darkness. Therefore, their temples were made to worship fire. One of the most famous fire temples was Kaba Zaresht in Naqsh Rustam. You could always see fire flames through the openings in the walls. Another temple is the Atashka Fire Temple of Baku in Azerbaijan. Atashka literally means home of fire, and the Persian word Atash symbolizes holy fire. In ancient Persia, we could recognize 2 types of royal cemeteries. The first is the royal tomb of the King Cyrus the Great, the founder of the Achaemenid Empire. It rests on a square base of large blocks of marble, which forms 7 layers pyramidically, finding carved inscriptions on every part of the monument. The other type are graves carved in rocky mountains. Only the tomb of King Darius I can be recognized without a doubt thanks to inscriptions. The other 3 tombs are said to be attributed to his immediate successors, Xerxes, Artaxerxes I, and Darius II.